Hi guys, it's Laura at Sheer Passion. Thanks for tuning in. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about my life journey and what my husband and I have been going through and what the Lord's been teaching me and just how difficult this journey has been. So I know a lot of us don't like to talk about when we're in arguments in our relationships, when our arguments turn to fights, and what happens inside of our bodies when we get that way. Because, we tend to be the ugliest side of ourselves. Mentally, it's draining. It's extremely difficult to be excited to see other people at the grocery store or at the post office or at the gym or when you're running errands because you're so afraid that your body language and everything from your hair to your clothing to the lack of the smile on your face is going to give you away that you're just unhappy and that you're miserable. I'm learning that no one is in control of your emotions. And it's so easy to blame other people when you're frustrated and you're upset. You notice how really those are the only emotions that we even care to blame on other people. You never tell people to stop making you happy. Stop making me so freaking happy. I can't take any more happiness. Stop making me feel so special. I hate being so special. That doesn't even sound right. It's kind of like, come on. But the reality is, you could choose to react not special, or you could choose to not be happy. They're not in control of those emotions. But you notice how people feel so burdened and pulled down when they're frustrated or they're angry, they're confused and they're scared. I hate those emotions. They're so mentally taxing. And the way that I think, I immediately go to what was the action of the other person, and could we tell all people on the planet, sons and daughters, to follow what we're doing and create this beautiful display in our world called community. So many times I use metaphors with my husband and my stepson, and I am a garden, and I know that a lot of women can relate to that because gardens come in all different sizes, so many different flowers, so many different fragrances, but people will stop and look at them, and they are beautiful, and they reap a harvest of not just gorgeous things, but protection and food, and then also fruits and vegetables and shelter and shade and clothing. You name it. Gardens are amazing. I am in need of sunlight and water. That's it. That's all I need. Sunlight and water. God has provided the soil. He has planted the seed. And my husband is supposed to be joining my life to make sure that we can water the garden together. So I don't have to water it all the time. I was supposed to get a teammate. What does my husband do? Instead of understanding that I need water and sunlight, he brings benches and things to put in the garden and stares at the garden all day long. Loves his garden, is continually dedicated to that garden every minute of every day. Here we are at the end of 6 years, not 6 years of marriage, which is very key to this relationship, but 6 years. And he still has that bench, and he is so dedicated to the garden that is dying and wants to kill him. That's so difficult for people to understand, that this man feels like he has been so dedicated, and I feel the complete opposite. I feel like I told him I need water and sunlight, and he hears that I don't see that he's pulled up a bench, that he sits every day, and that not only that, he brings ornaments to even make me look more beautiful. It's unnecessary. Can anyone relate to me on the other side of that screen? How we talk to each other, and I feel like my husband speaks Mandarin and I speak English, and you ever try to talk to somebody that doesn't speak your language, you start to take on their dialect and you get louder? That doesn't work. You cannot yell at a Chinaman in English. He still will not understand you. Vice versa. So it is amazing to me what the Lord is teaching. So many people talk about how marriage is supposed to make you holy. First of all, it is very difficult to be in a team unless each member of the team is going to submit themselves to understanding God's will in their life. This is what I believe God's will looks like in a marriage. My husband and I must submit to Christ first. So every day I have to ask the Lord to please give me wisdom when speaking to a person who speaks Mandarin. And I also have to ask if he will give me the strength and the patience to learn Mandarin. The answer is no right now. Ladies, you have to know the answer is no. I want to speak English. I've been speaking English to this man. This man does not want to listen. Now, he loves that I am an intense English-speaking woman, but the man speaks Mandarin. And so we're continually frustrated. You ever hear in our languages how many words mean something to us because they're words, but that's not the meaning in their language? That is exactly what marriage is like. Do you know that both people have to want to love the other person? So when the word is being said, they will try to understand that it means something different to the other person. My rational brain likes to enter in here. I don't care how many things our words mean. If we cannot grow a more thriving, loving, caring community on what we do with those words, then I need us to halt. We need to halt, and we need to ask God to enter in, because the reality is in marriages, it's usually about convincing. We're trying to convince each other, either side. It becomes a war. It becomes a war because for a team mentality to enter in, we must work as a team. If we are not working as a team, it's like two horses trying to pull a cart, but they're going in two separate directions. If those horses do not work together, they are going to tire out so quickly in this game. Although two horses pulling one cart should be very easy for both of them, and have them pull that cart much longer. You know, it sounds so easy when it comes to metaphors. It's not easy when it comes to people because we don't respond to carrots and a whipping on our buns. The problem is that we need to actually want to see the other person in a beautiful life. And I know that you can relate to me on this. When we're fighting and we're angry, that's not what we want. We want the other person buried in the ground far, far away and no one looking for them. That is because our emotions are so intense that they make us feel something on the inside and they create action on the outside. But isn't that like any emotion? That is why you really genuinely have to want to care about the other person. And then there's still me. I'm speaking to myself on this video, and I still want to kill him. And I do care for him, and I still want him dead and buried in the ground when he makes me so mad. Do you ever want to shake them? Shake them and tell them that you're going to kill them. I know you can understand that. You know, and men are so passive and kind of laid back. And I know there's men out there that are not passive and laid back, but you also understand that not every woman may be like me on the video. So you can understand, I get it that we're all different. But the reality is, when we're in a relationship, it is okay to argue. But it is not okay to argue those arguments into fights and wars. That is when you realize you're trying to speak to each other's language louder, but not understand the language. That is what makes people stop and go, crap, I have been yelling at you, but you don't actually speak my language. There's lots of books on this. It talks about it in the Bible. I'm here to tell you I've experienced it. I get it. I've watched other people just be devoured at these points in their relationships because it is so difficult to do the extra work. If we were taught and we were mentored to see such beauty in each person from childhood on up, this would not be a problem. The reality is the devil got into our society a long time ago and decided to break down barriers of communication and self-worth. People don't like the feeling of extra frustration. Yet we love the feeling of extra energy and extra happiness. So it's not about extras, it's which extra we have. So when you start doing all of that and you start placing it in the brain, if you have extra energy, great. If you have extra money, great. If you have extra happiness, great. The minute you have less of something or more of bad, all of a sudden your same body and your same brain have a very difficult time remembering that you do care about people. Yes, we do care about people because people make everything matter on this planet. There is not a product or service or relationship that matters without at least two people on the planet. Say it with me. We love people. That is what creates change in this world. It also creates a lot of damage. That's okay. That's because those people have been damaged, and they've been continually damaged because people who are with them, including themselves, they haven't learned to submit. Cry out to God and ask for wisdom. Hey, that isn't enough. You still have to stand up after you've asked and take the right action. Once again, I have not always taken the right action, and I will just tell you as a woman that is madly in love with the Lord, that I do cuss a little. I'm about to cuss now. Do you hear my husband making lots of noises in the background? We'll have it out. We will. I will tell him something about how he drove me nuts on my sweet little video. Whether anyone sees this or not, I will still be irritated. So the reality is we need to work a little bit harder. We can have the wisdom and we can have the strength, but you are not alone when it comes to taking the right action and always doing the right things. You know what? In the Suggs house, we are working on things. It takes every single day to work harder. And you know what? When you're in a frustrating transition in your marriage, you have to be willing to push past that to the end. Did you ever hear about people riding bikes for long distances or running long distances and they feel like their legs are going to fall off? But these men and women push through it and win the race. Their body tells them to stop. Stop what you're doing. Give up. My body tells me that when I'm so frustrated with my husband, I'm like, the only way I'm going to be happy again is if this man does not exist. And then I think, how can I do that without getting in trouble with the state law? You know, these things happen in women's bodies. And men are like, are these women ever going to be happy with anything? It's like, I'm not abusive, I'm not a serial killer, and I have a job. And this woman still is not happy. You're darn right we're not. It takes more than that to make a great team. We are trying, and there are days where we fail so badly. And I wanted to come on here and encourage you not to give up. We also aren't sitting on our hands doing nothing, and we find a lot of humor in this house in some of the worst times. Learn to laugh through all of the yucky stuff. That's how we get things done over here in the Suggs house. All right, that's your Tuesday talk. Laura over and out. Read the blog. If you haven't read it, it's hilarious. Sheer Passion to Blog at blogspot.com. SHEERPASSION. To blog, the number 2, at blogspot.com. Thanks so much, guys. See you soon.